to each of you who are here, and welcome also to everybody in Clovis, New Mexico at Servant's Heart Chapel. They are just, God's helping them and doing good things out there. And if you would, we haven't done this in a little while, I guess, if you would you join me in a round of applause for your brothers and sisters in Servant's Heart Chapel? We're glad you're here and glad you're a part of our church. And so we partner together with them, and they use the messages that we preach here, and they show them there. And back a few weeks ago, when we had just a good sense of God's presence in our service here, and several people had prayed and sought God just for a new touch in their life. That same message, when it was played there in Clovis, several people sought the Lord there, and just God's helping, and I'm encouraged, and so we're excited about the possibilities of continuing on to work with them in the future. This morning I want to talk to you on the topic committing to redemption. Committing to redemption. In the book of Ruth, we're talking this week, or for this month or so, talking about a series topic called Redeeming Ruth. And if you look at your handout, you'll see the very first verse says this. It says, "In the days when the judges ruled." And let me just kind of set that up for you, just in case you weren't here last week. Boy, my time's running together, isn't it? Just in case you weren't here last week, the days when the judges ruled, that's a nasty period in Israel's history, the history of the people of God. Basically, they were just going, it would go well for a little while, and then they would backslide. They would fall away from the Lord, they would chase after other gods, and there would be this downward cycle of idolatry and idol worship. However, when that happened, God would allow them to just kind of hit the bottom, and another country would come in and oppress them and conquer them and rule over them, and they would begin to cry out, "Oh, God, have mercy on us, we're sorry, we've drifted away from you." Their hearts would turn back to God, and God would raise up a judge, and he would raise up this judge to rule over Israel, and he would conquer the Lord's enemies, and they would turn back to God, and it would be great, and God's blessing would come. And then, as soon as things got comfortable, guess what? Right over top of the hill, and they'd forget, and they'd drift off into foolishness and wickedness, chasing after other gods. As soon as it got comfortable, pow, they're right back down into idolatry, running from the Lord again. And that is the bottom line that's the story of the whole book of Judges, right there. Up and down and in and out, backsliding and coming back to the Lord, backsliding and coming back to the Lord, over and over again. And the last phrase in the book of Judges says this: "And every man did what was right in his own eyes." That's it. That's the story. You could sum up the whole book of Judges in that one sentence right there. But in the middle of that time, in the days when the judges ruled, there was one girl that God said, "I got to pull this story out, and I got to tell this story as its own standalone story. You got to hear this story." And so that's the setup. In fact, what happened in the first five verses, which I did not put on your handout this morning, here's what happened. Elimelech is a man in Bethlehem. He's married to a woman, Naomi. They've got two sons, Mahlon and Chilion. And those two sons go with them. There's a famine in Bethlehem, and where you know you need to sneeze and you can't. Oh, wow. All right, wherever I was, there's a famine in Bethlehem. There's no food. Bad days. In fact, I would say probably in the book of Judges, it's in one of those down times, right? It's in one of those dips. It's in the time when nobody's faithful to the Lord and God's judgment is resting. However, Elimelech and Naomi, they make this decision to go to Moab. Moab is a journey around the Dead Sea. There's a map there, a journey around the Dead Sea, around into the kingdom of Moab. And as you go from the kingdom of Judah around into the kingdom of Moab, it's kind of a difficult journey going uphill a lot of the way. And you wind up 50 miles later, about 5, 7, 10 days travel, you wind up in the kingdom of Moab. The problem is, it wasn't just like, let's go 50 miles away, even though that was a pretty big trip back in those days. It wasn't just a thing of, let's go to a place where there's a little bit better opportunity. The problem is that in Moab, there was a lot of wickedness. There was the worship of the god Shemash. That was their primary god that they worshiped there. And as they worshiped him, it involved at times child sacrifice. It involved all kinds of immorality. And it was a false god. It wasn't the true and the living God. And so Elimelech says, you know what? Hard times, let's take my family, because it's difficult times, let's take my family to a place where people don't worship the same God. Let's take my family into a negative spiritual atmosphere. Anybody ever seen that happen in people around you? You know what I'm talking about? You've seen that happen? All of a sudden it's like, hey, difficult days, can't really come to church right now, I can't really get with God's people and worship. It's hard days, it's difficult days. I would submit to you that in the difficult days, that's when you need to be with God's people, right? I mean, that's when it's more important than ever. But the way it usually tends to happen is hard days come, let's lay out of church, let's get away from God's people, and that's exactly what they did. Now, after this happened, we get to verse 6, okay? After they've gotten down into Moab, they wind up staying there for about 10 years. Now, here's a lesson for you. If you go to Moab, all right, if you drift away from what God is doing in your life, here's the cold hard facts. It always costs you more than you think it will, and it always keeps you longer than you think it will. Always. Always. You drift away from the Lord and it'll keep you longer than you thought. And before you know it, you're like, 10 years. Man, I thought I was just going to do this little short journey away from God's will. Well, okay, I know what God wants me to do, but I'm going to go over here for a little while. And they do that, and the next thing you know, it says, and they stayed there about 10 years. Because it's hard, isn't it, to leave once you're somewhere? It's hard to pull up roots and go back. And in the process, Elimelech dies. And then she's a widow. Naomi's a widow. In the process, her 2 sons get married. They get married to Moabite girls, which nobody gasped here when I said that, but that was a horrible thing in that day. What? They married a Moabite. Because Moabites were so wicked that God said there is so much wickedness that if you allow them to come in, they'll lead your heart to their gods. And so he said, no Moabite is allowed to come into the congregation of the Lord to the 10th generation. If you assume that's 25 years per generation, that's like from George Washington. If George Washington was a Moabite, just now, his kids, his great-grandkids would be allowed to intermarry with the people of God. That's significant. Back in those days, that was deeply significant. Mahlon and Chilion, they both marry Moabite girls. One is named Orpah, the other is named Ruth, and then after a period of time, both Mahlon and Chilion both die. Now, I'm not saying that those guys wouldn't have died if they'd have stayed in Israel. We don't know. We don't know. I'm just saying when you go on a journey out of God's will, it tends to keep you longer than you thought, and it tends to cost you more than you thought. But there's really good news, and that's what we're going to look at today. The mind-blowing fact that I talked about last Sunday is that the story of the book of Ruth teaches that God is bigger than your mistakes. Yes. He is bigger than your blunders, and His blessings, when you turn wholeheartedly to Him, His blessings can come out of the dumbest decisions you've ever made. The most sinful things you've ever done. Out of that very place can flow God's blessing and God's redemption, and that's what the story of the book of Ruth is about. Would you join me on verse 6? And we're gonna jump into the story. When she, that is Naomi, heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of His people by providing food for them, Naomi and her daughters-in-law, prepared to return home from there. She hears from Israel, Bethlehem, which ironically the name Bethlehem means house of bread. Like in the house of bread there was no food. And she hears the house of bread, God's blessing has returned. And apparently it's gets on one of those upswings in the book of Judges. Hey, the famine is gone. God's blessing them. Let's go back home. Verse 7, with her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where they had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Hard journey. 3 women, 50 miles, 7 days, 10 days maybe, something like that. If you're making 10 miles a day, walking, difficult journey, dangerous journey. Bandits, no police force. Who knows what's going to happen? But they set out on the journey. Now look at what happens. I want to start with 3 things this morning that I think will be very important for you to grasp this morning. Number 1, when you've got every reason to go back, when you've got every reason to go back. Look at the story. Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show kindness to you, as you have shown to your dead," their dead husbands, "and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband." Then she kissed them, and they wept out loud. And said to her, "We will go back with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have more sons who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I'm too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and gave birth to sons, would you wait until my sons were grown up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters. It is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has gone out against me." She's saying, I feel responsible. I'm sorry because of God's hand has gone out against me, and it's affected you too. And so they're with her. They're actually on the road they're going, and she just stops. She's like, "Guys, girls, go back. Look, just go back to your homes. Let me just go this journey alone. I want to go back to the place where God is visiting His people, but I just go back home. You've got every reason." And let me tell you, did they have every reason to go back? Oh yeah, she's right. They're going to go to Moab, go from Moab back, and she knows it's not an easy thing to go marry off a Moabite girl in Israel. You can't just waltz into Israel and all of a sudden, oh, look, all these guys are clamoring for your attention. No, remember, Moabites banned. It's not good. They're idol worshipers. They're from the wrong side of the tracks. And she knows that. And she says, "Girls, if you go with me, you're going to be a widow for the rest of your life." That's the probability. You're going to be a widow for the rest of your life. You're going to be alone. And what's more, when we get back, I don't know about the old home place. It's going to be broken down. We're going to have to feed the family. You're going to have to work. It's going to be a hard, hard life. Did they have every reason to go back? Everybody say yes. Yes, they did. But check this out. When you've got every reason to go back and others are failing to make the leap. Look at verse 14. At this, they wept again, and then look at this. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. She clung to Naomi. "Look," said Naomi, "your sister-in-law is going back to her people and to her gods. Go back with her." You know how powerful it is when you feel like, oh, maybe I should just quit, and then somebody you care about quits? You know what I'm saying? You know how powerful that moment is? Like, man, I'm just feeling discouraged about this. Maybe walking with the Lord is not, maybe I just need to throw in the towel and give up and just go back to, I know how to do that. I know how to live in sin. Let's just go do that. And somebody, about that time, somebody you care about flies off the bandwagon. That's a hard moment, isn't it? It's hard to not just like, well, see, I mean, there they go too. All right, so let's go back. Maybe it's a husband or a wife or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a good friend that you love. Man, other people are failing to make the leap, the jump to redemption. What about that? When that kind of moment, let me tell you, this is what's going to take. What we're about to do, this is what it's going to take to make it through. When you've got every reason to go back and others are failing to make the leap, let me show you what it's going to take to make it through, okay? Jackie, let me tell you what it's going to take to make it through, all right? Let me tell you what it's going to take to make it through. Are you ready? Let's look at the next verse, verse 16. But Ruth replied. Let's read this out loud together. Would you join me? Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. And where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if anything but death separates you and me. Wow. Wow. There's a reason why these words are still read often at weddings. What is this, like 3,000 years later? There's a reason why those words are still, not all the time, but I've been to weddings where they read those same words. Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my God. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Where you die, I'll die, and there I will be buried. Nothing but death is going to part you and me. Wow. What commitment. This is what it's going to take. This is what it's going to take to make it through. The road to redemption, please don't miss this when I say the road to redemption is not an easy road. It is not an easy journey. It is not an easy thing to shake off the chains of addiction. It is not an easy thing to rebuild relationships that have been shattered. It is not an easy thing to make the journey, the hard, difficult journey. And when you get there and you think, no, at last we're back. Now you got to feed the family. And now you got to figure out, maybe it looks like maybe I'm going to be alone. My life might be difficult. It might be hard. But when you have decided like this is what it's going to take to make that journey. Anybody ever feel half-hearted in your following of the Lord? Yeah. Anybody, you just feel like I'm half in and I'm half out? There's a story told some years ago of a Haitian pastor was preaching, and a guy heard him preach, and he gave this parable, and he wrote it down, and I was reading the story this week. There was a man that was, his house was for sale. He was in a difficult time financially, and he had to sell his house, and it was worth $20,000. However, a guy came to him and said, I want to buy your house for $10,000. And the guy said, I can't sell it to you for $10,000. It's not. He said, please, look, he pushed him, he argued with him, and finally the guy was in such a difficult time, he said, I'll tell you what, I'll sell it to you for $10,000, but he said, I wanted to, one condition, I want to own the nail that sticks in the front door. That's all I own. I'll sell the house to you for $10,000, and I want to own the nail that sticks in the front door. The guy said, okay. It's a $10,000 nail. That's fine. Whatever. That'll be fine. No problem. So he bought the house. A couple of years later, things had turned around for the guy that originally sold the house. Things had gotten better, and he said, I want to buy that house back. He went and talked to the guy and said, I'd like to buy the house back. And the guy said, it's not for sale. It's not for sale. I like it. I like living here, and it's not for sale. I'm not going to sell it to you. The guy said, look, please sell it back to me. It was a difficult time for me. I didn't want to have to sell it, but I had to. And now things have turned around. Please. And so he said, I'm not going to sell it to you. Now here's what happened. The guy said, all right, fine. He left, went and got a dead dog, came and hung it on that nail. And he said, the guy said, hey, take that thing off there. He said, I'm not going to. That's my nail. I can hang whatever I want to on that nail. You know what happened, right? The smell got worse and worse, and it became unlivable in that house. They couldn't stand living there any longer. Finally, after a period of time, the guy said, look, I'll sell it back to you for what I paid for it. Here's the lesson. I think maybe you can feel this coming. If the devil is left with even one little peg in your life, he'll hang his trash on it. I promise you he will. If the devil is left with one peg in your life, he's going to come hang some trash on it. I promise you that'll happen. So what I see often is people say, God, I'm willing to give you this, and this. I just want to keep this. Right? I just want to keep this right here. I'll do anything you want me to do as long as I can carry this along with me. You know what often that becomes? It becomes the peg. It becomes the peg that the devil will hang his trash on. It'll be the exit door. It'll be the back door through which the devil just has free reign to come in and out. You know what I'm saying? One peg. One thing. What is that for you? Yeah. You know what I'm saying, right? What is it for you? What is your peg nailed? What is it that the devil has nailed into your front door that he can hang whatever he wants on because he owns that? It is time to pull some nails. It's time to pull some nails. It's time to get rid of some stuff. It's time to say, don't urge me to turn back from Jesus. Where he goes, I go. Where he stays, I stay. His people are my people. Am I talking sense to you this morning? Some of it, the nail in the front door is people. You know what I'm saying? It's people, it's friends, it's places you go, it's things that you want to keep doing. What is that nail? What is it? It's time to pull some nails. That's what commitment to redemption is all about. You say, I want to go, I want to be part of God's people, I want to live like that, I want to have that kind of life, I want to have those blessings. Then it's time to commit to the journey. It's time to commit to redemption. So where do you get determination like that? Where do you get determination? I want you to look at this last thing, that last verse in verse 14. Check this out. So when Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, check this out, she stopped urging her. She stopped urging her. She was done. Like, well, there's no point. No point in talking to you anymore. She didn't keep on saying, oh no, please, Ruth, really, seriously, I just don't think it's, please, Ruth, no, Ruth, you just got, nope, stopped urging her. You see commitment like that? Well, all right then, come on. We might as well get started because it's clear you're going with me. I will tell you this, there will be some things, not everything, but there will be some times when you've got people urging you to make this journey or that trip or that trip. Oh, please, Tim, don't go with Jesus. Just do this. And they keep bugging you. How many have people in your life that keep bugging you? You know what I'm saying? They keep coming around, they keep bugging you, they keep pulling you back, When you have this moment I'm talking about where your commitment is like set in stone, there comes a time where those people either come with you or they leave you alone. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, oh, stop urging them. I have a preacher friend who passed away a few years ago. His name was Albert Barr, and he had a great story that illustrated this. Heard him tell it many times. He said he was pastoring a church, and somebody had to travel as a delegate from that church, from the congregation, had to travel to the annual business meeting of his denomination. They had to have a delegate because they had some decisions to make and things like that. And so he said he was asking people in the church business meeting. He was asking them to be a delegate. And so somebody said, "I nominate Sister Green." And said, "All right, Mrs. Green, would you?" "Oh, I just don't think I better because there's so many things I've got to do. I just don't think I probably can because I just don't think I should. I'm not." "Oh, please, Sister, would you please, Miss Green? I just appreciate it if you would." "No, I just don't think I better do it." "Oh, please." "Well, all right." And he said, "Now, are there any other nominations?" "Well, I nominate Mrs. Black." "All right, Mrs. Black, would you, please, would you mind?" "Oh, I just don't think I can. I have problems, and I think I might have some appointments, and "Oh, please, Sister Black, we just need somebody to go. Would you just, "Oh, I just don't think I can." "Well, any other nominations?" "I nominate Mrs. White." "Okay, Mrs. White, would you please?" "Oh, I just don't think, I'm not the person for it. I just," said, somebody else said, he said, it was a very colorful church, he said, "I nominate Mrs. Blue." He said, "Mrs. Blue," and Mrs. Blue said, "I ain't going." He said, "Are there any other nominations?" It's pointless to argue with that. Just time to move on. You get where I'm going with that, right? No, seriously, there are some people in your life, there are some situations in your life, maybe there's some temptations. The devil's coming around and he keeps putting that same one, same thing. And you need to look at him and say, "I ain't going." Somebody say amen. I'm not going. I'm not going. The answer is no now. It'll be no in an hour. It'll be no in a week. It'll be no in a month. It'll be no 20 years from now. And when they put me in the ground, the answer will still be no because I'm not going. Okay. What am I talking about? I'm talking about committing to the journey of redemption. So where does this kind of determination come from? Ready? Number one. Oh, you know what? Hey, hang on. I'm talking about determination. There we go. I wanted to show you that. That's cool right there. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about determination. Show me some determination here, people. Yeah. Okay, I forgot I had that in there. Number one. Let's talk about determination. Number one. Where does determination come from? Number one, God's calling produces opportunity, conviction for sin, and hunger for Him. The opportunity, hear me real good on this. The starting point of redemption is not your determination. It's not. Because you're not that good and you're not that determined to make this by yourself. You're not. In fact, the truth is, if redemption is this self-starting, self-sustaining process, it's not really good news. Try harder is not the message of salvation. Okay? Come on, you can do a little better. Try harder. One more push-up. Come on, you can do it. That's not the message of salvation. If you were just a little stronger, you could make it, is not the message of salvation. The truth is, the message of salvation is God is pursuing after you. That's right. He is chasing after you. And there's a reason why even when you've failed, even when you've stumbled, you feel Him still there. You know why? It's because He's chasing you. He is not done with you. He is pursuing after you. Yes, He is. He's not done. He's not given up. He is chasing after you. He's calling to you. And God's calling gives you opportunity. If God didn't call you, you wouldn't want to go at all. You wouldn't even have that tug on the inside that pulls you back to His house. You wouldn't have that tug on the inside that says, you know, I really ought to go. If God wasn't calling you, you wouldn't even be here. Yeah, that's right. Amen. He's calling. Amen. You have an opportunity before you. That's the place where determination like this comes from, is God's pulling on you. He's pulling. He has not let you go. No matter what you've done, no matter how far you've gone, He is chasing after you. Now, I want to show you a couple of scriptures there that are related to this. Philippians 3, verse 12. I press on to take hold of that for which Christ Jesus took hold of me. Did you see that? He's like, I'm pressing on to grasp that for which Jesus already got me. What is he saying? Jesus got a hold of me, and he's pulling, and he's taking me, and I'm going along, I'm pressing on with him because he laid hold of me. Some of you know what I'm talking about. God slapped you upside the head and said, you're coming with me.
That's right, amen. Do it again.
He can do it anytime he wants. Sometimes he's done it 20 or 30 times. You know what I'm saying? Like he did, and then I forgot, and then he's like, nope, you're coming with me.
That's what happens.
Okay. Now, I'm just telling you, he's taken hold of me. There's a reason why I'm determined to follow Jesus, and it's because God has got a hook in my jaw.
That's right.
He's got hold of me, and I'm pressing on to take hold of the thing he's called me to. Look at Titus 2:11. I love this verse. Let's read these out loud together off your handout. For the grace of God that brings salvation has appeared to all men. It teaches us to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions and to live self-controlled, upright, and godly lives in this present age. That is what God is. His grace has appeared to all people, and it teaches us what we ought to be doing. You know that feeling. You know that feeling. Yeah, I can't do that. I shouldn't be doing it. Even when you've drifted into it, you know I shouldn't do this. You know what that is? It's the grace of God, y'all. It's active in your life. He's calling you. Now, here's the thing. God is calling people that aren't coming, because he's calling everybody. Now, there are some people, there actually is a theology in the Christian world, I won't name denominations and all that, but there is a theology in the Christian world that said God doesn't call everybody. He only calls some people. He doesn't want you, he's going to send you to hell, but he's going to call this one over here. And that's not in the Bible. Okay, now, he does call in different ways, with different intensities, and I don't understand why he does that all the time. You know, the Apostle Paul is on his way to kill Christians, and God knocks him off his donkey and says, you're coming with me. Okay, whoa. When God knocks you off your donkey, blinds you with a light, and says, you're coming with me, you say, yes, sir. That's exactly what you say. I don't know why he calls some people like that, and he hasn't knocked you off your donkey yet. Okay? I don't know. On the other hand, what's it going to take? Is he going to have to? You know what I'm saying? Is he going to have to? What is it going to? Is it going to take an automobile accident and you're flat on your back, paralyzed? Is it going to? What's it going to take for God to get hold of you and say, "You're coming with me"? He might do whatever's necessary. Be cautious, my friend. I would encourage you, listen to him right now.
That's right.
Right now. It's not going to get any easier. Come now. Go with him now. So what is it? What does determination come from? Number two, God's calling plus your commitment equals determination. That's where determination comes from. God is calling to some people who don't have any determination to follow him. You know why? They won't commit to it. Yeah. They won't commit to it. They don't want it. They say, well, I kind of want to, but I'm not, not, I just don't think I can, I don't think I can be that, or I don't think I should, I don't really want to. No, they don't have that. Where you go, I will go. Where you die, I will die. There I will be buried. Your people are my people. Your God's my God. They don't have that. They don't have that. Ruth had it. There were thousands of people in the book of Judges where they're doing this the whole time. Up and down, up and down, up and down. They didn't have it. But God found a little Moabite girl who said, I will commit to this journey. No matter what, if I'm alone and a widow and it's hard and I'm going to die going on this path. And when God finds a person who'll do that, stuff starts happening. Stuff starts happening. I mean, the grace of God swings into action, and he will make sure you have determination when you've committed like that. Let me show you a couple of verses on your handout. Jerusalem, Jesus said, how often I have longed to gather you, but you would not. You would not. You wouldn't come. I wanted you to. I longed to. but you wouldn't come. Look at Luke 7:30. Jesus said this, or the writer of Luke said, the Pharisees rejected the purposes of God for themselves. Did you know you can reject God's purpose for your life in favor of yours? You can. He says, here's my purpose for your life. I want to make you a holy child of God. I want to make you a blessing to other people. I want to make you pure and holy and wholeheartedly follower after me. I want to bless you in these ways, and then I want to take you to heaven someday. He can do that, but you can decide, I want my own way. You can decide that. It's your choice. Since you reject it, Paul and Barnabas said, since you reject the gospel, the word of God, and consider yourselves unworthy of eternal life, we're going to go preach to a different audience. He said that to the Jews. They came to the Jews, they said, and the Jews argued and said, no, Jesus can't really be the Messiah. The Jews were the people, they had it all together, right? They had the pedigree, they were born on the right side of the tracks, and they said, no, we don't want it. And he said, all right, you consider yourselves unworthy of eternal life. I'm going to go somewhere else. Here's what I want to say. God is calling you. Will you slow down and let yourself be caught? Some of you are just running too fast. You're doing your thing, and you don't want to slow down and hear that little voice that whispers to you in your quiet, serious moments. In your quiet, serious moments, you know God is hot on your trail. You know He is, because He's right there whenever you shut your mind down for a second, but you don't want to. That's why you don't want to shut your mind down for a second. You got to keep going. You got to keep running on to the next thing. You got to keep moving on and talk to this person and call that person and text this person and look up this on the internet and do this and run over here and run over there, because you can't stop long enough to say, I hear you. You're catching up to me, aren't you, God? Okay, I'm going to stop, and I want you to catch me. Will you slow down and let yourself be caught? Lots of things could come in the way. Bad past religious experiences. Anybody had any of those? You know what I'm saying? You knew a Christian who wasn't? You know what I'm saying? You knew a person who was a hypocrite. Bad religious experience, that can get in the way. Or bad theology. You know, I've always heard that God is like this, or God's mean, and He's cruel and heartless. He just doesn't want you to have any fun. That could get in the way. Difficult circumstances, hard times, no job, difficult moments. Those things could get in the way. Just sheer busyness can get in the way. But none of those things will stop a person who has committed to the journey of redemption. None of them have to stop you. None of them do. Ruth had been caught and captivated by a God. I wonder what had happened for her. I wonder where did it come from? Was it stories told around a candle in the little hut where she was married to Malin and Kilian? The girls were married, and they're here with Elimelech. And was it stories of how God parted the waters and how He rained manna from heaven on His children in the wilderness? Was it stories of how He brought them out of Egypt, and stories of how He appeared and did miracles for Abraham and Isaac and Jacob? I don't know. But somehow God got a hold of this little girl's heart. And this little Moabite girl says, I want some of that. I want to know about this God. I want to know Him. I don't know what it was, but I'm certain of this. She fed the hunger. She was the most unlikely person you would think to ever make this journey. She was the most unlikely person. She was from the wrong side of the track. She didn't have it together. She was a widow. Her mother-in-law was a backslidden Jew. She was raised in an immoral, pagan culture. She had been an idol worshiper. She was a descendant of an incestuous relationship. Go study the background of Moab. She was a part of a nation who were outcasts, but none of those things stopped her. You know why? Commitment. Commitment. That's why. God's calling and her commitment produced in her determination. What is commitment? Adrian, put up that slide that gives us a definition of commitment. Are you ready? Commitment means staying loyal to what you said you were going to do long after the mood you set it in has left you. Oh, that's good. That's worth the price of coming this morning. That's good right there. You know what I'm saying? Because you get a mood. You get in the right mood in service, in church, and all of a sudden everything's like, yeah. Oh, I'm going to follow Jesus. I'm sold out. I'm 100%. I'm going to. And then Monday at like 10:45, the mood is gone. Or maybe it's Friday at 6 o'clock when you're off work and you're heading home. You know what I'm saying? But sooner or later, the mood is gone. Commitment means I'm going to be loyal to what I said I was going to do after the mood is gone. Because sometimes, let's be honest, the mood leaves. And I'm going to guess that there were some moments in Ruth's life over the next year of her life where she's on the journey and she's back to God's people, back to Israel, and she steps on a rock and rolls her ankle, and now she's hobbling, or her foot is cut open, and she's hobbling there trying to make it. I'm going to guess there are some moments where she didn't feel a mood of, oh, we're going back. I'm just going to guess that's the case. But she was committed. She stuck with it. Look at these verses in Romans chapter 10, verse 20. I love this. God says this. He said, I was found by those who did not seek me, and I revealed myself to those who did not ask for me. Man, that's the story of some of your lives. You weren't looking. You weren't out searching around for God. And all of a sudden, God says, here I am. Here I am. I'm here. Like it or not, I'm here. But concerning Israel, he says, all day long, I've held out my hands to a disobedient and obstinate people. It is your choice which one of those you want to be. God has come to you. You are born in a blessed country where I can stand up here and I can preach the gospel and no fear that I'm going to be put in jail for it. There are churches on every corner in this city practically. You get an opportunity to come here and hear the Word of God. The question is whether He will hold His hands out to you all day long to a disobedient, obstinate, hard-headed people. Or whether it'll be said, I wasn't looking for Him, but He found me, and I gave up. I gave up. Yep, I'm not running, Lord. I'm not running. I'm not running off to do that. I'm not running off to do this. I'm done. I'm stopping right here. Catch me. See, I don't want to know your background. I want to know your commitment. I don't want to know your background. I want to know your commitment. Will you commit yourself, no matter what, to what Jesus says? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. You said, well, I just don't think I can. I don't want to know. I don't want to know about what you don't think you can do. What I want to know is, will you commit yourself to the journey? Yes, it will be hard. I promise you. There will be days you want to quit. I promise you. There will be difficult moments where it feels like this is never going to happen. I'm never going to get there. There will be moments like that. I promise you there will. The question I would have for you is, will you commit yourself to the journey and say, I'm done running. I'm on the journey with Jesus as of right now. And when they put me in the ground, I'll still be on this journey.
That's right.
If they kill me, I'll die praising Jesus. If it takes everything I've got, if I'm always alone, I'll always be alone with Jesus.
That's right.
If I never see anything that I thought was going to come to pass happen, I'll say, I'm with Him anyway. Commitment. Now the good news is this. When she committed herself to this journey, things start happening. And she goes back home, and it's hard days, and she's got to, but you know what? God has some divine appointments set up for this girl who has committed herself to Jesus. God has some divine appointments, and all of a sudden doors of blessing start opening up, and in the next few days you're going to be introduced to a guy whose name is Boaz. That's a good name, Bo. We'll call him Bo for short. There we go. Boaz. And all of a sudden, she catches the eye of this guy named Boaz. And God just so happened to take her to a place where Boaz would be, because Boaz was one of the few guys in Israel who had the right to marry her. And he sees this girl, and she's out there, and she is sweating, and her hair is messed up, and she's face is dirty and smudged, and she's working hard picking up grain. You'll learn all about that coming up soon. And all of a sudden, sparks start to fly, and redemption starts happening. It's a chick flick over the next couple of weeks, all right? Guys, come anyway, okay? All right. Come anyway, because I think it's going to be worth hearing. Because some of you guys, I'll tell you, you say, well, I'm not chick. No, there's a strong man in the chick flick, all right? It's not one of these soft, limp-wristed guys that wears, Gucci, all right? It's not. He's not. He's a man. He's a man's man. He's a businessman. He's a strong guy. You'll see all about it as we come through the next few weeks. I just want to tell you this, that if you'll commit to God, all of a sudden things start happening. It may take a little while, but things start happening, and doors start opening, and pieces start falling in place. You have no idea. You have no idea what God's going to do. You have no idea. He's got resources you didn't even know he had. Redemption, if you'll commit to it, things will happen. Would you bow your heads with me for prayer?